Okay, so in this video, I read two classics, The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas and 1984 by George Orwell. They are both 5-star reads, but I recommend you read 1984 because this is more timely and this is more, okay, this has like a lot of political ideologies that you really have to read and like think about. This one is a story of revenge. Okay. It's very thick, and this is why I am very like, do I recommend this book? I do though. It's a very good book, but you really have to be invested because it's such a thick book. Basically, it's about Edmond Dantes. He is a sailor, and he is, you know, he has the best life, but because he's having living the best life, he has a girlfriend he loves, his career is doing well, there are a bunch of people who is jealous and envious of him, and so they plotted. I mean, they didn't explicitly plot it, like all four of them. They didn't really plot, but circumstances happened that he was the one that was thrown into the fire. He is accused of treason. And there we go. Of course, he is not guilty, as these people have said, but that didn't matter. So he got thrown into prison because of ambition of some people. He plots his revenge. So it's a long story. The main thing that I loved about this is the conversations and confrontations between the characters, like the reveals towards the 80% mark, like when the revenge plot is finally plotted. Yeah, that's my favorite part. Okay, the next book is 1984, and this is a dystopian novel. We are following Winston Smith. He is a worker for the party, and the party is basically the government. And in this government, everyone is being watched by Big Brother. The things that they are doing, the things that they are saying, like everything is being controlled by Big Brother. And the truth is constantly being updated. And there is a relative fact for everything. They're changing the language as well to fit the ideologies of the party. And Winston Smith is sort of in danger because he is starting to think for himself. Okay, because in this community you're not allowed to think freely. Eccentricity, individualism should be scrapped. You should take that out of your system. Yeah, so your life is dedicated to the party. And what happens to a person who is starting to think different thoughts about that? Yeah, so that is for this vlog. Okay, love these two books. Okay, so I've been planning to finish The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas for a very long time. So I've been reading it since September, and it's just that, you know, sometimes I lose interest. And I think it's because, well, obviously it's such a long book, and I know how rich it is, but at the same time, I think the goal of this book could have been reached at a more sufficient length. Here's the thing about The Count of Monte Cristo. Okay, the best parts are when you get to the dialogues, the confrontations and all that. Really raw, like you could really feel it, despite the language not being as natural or as what you're used to, you know, contemporary English versus classical language, English, whatever. But the catch is you really have to go through this whole thing. Oh my god, last night I slept at 1 a.m. Accidentally. I did not mean to read as much as I did. I just wanted to get the ball rolling. Let's just say that I started page 860 or something, and I finished last night at 958. So that's like 100 pages read, and I didn't even notice because it was confrontation after confrontation. And the plans that keep on unfolding towards the end, like towards the 70%. Okay, it starts at 70% towards the end. So the first 70% sets up the book for the extravaganza that you would read towards, yeah, the 75% mark. Man, this is really good. Okay, I have to hand it to Mr. Dumas. So I'm very proud of myself. I've done the laundry. I have folded the clothes. I bathed myself, bathed the kids. Everything's going pretty well. Fed everyone. What's that, baby? You're sitting on your chair? Yan yan yan, Gab Gab.
I share with him.
I'm so proud of you. You share with him. Oh. You want some, Gaga? A prize. The confrontation between Eugenie and her father is so funny. It's so obvious that Eugenie is trying to build up the courage to say no to this arranged marriage. And the way that Alexander Dumas depicted it in the scene between the two, the father and the daughter, is hilarious. I loved it. I mean, it's not hilarious, but like it's so obvious that she's stalling. Anyway, I'm almost done. Page 998. I imagine it would take me 3 more nights. Last night I wasn't able to read as much because I watched a couple of Filipino romance movies with sad endings. I prefer movie endings to be sad. Especially if they're Filipino. Like, I don't often watch Filipino movies, but yeah. The one acting of that girl from Love You Long Time, she seemed like it was her first acting. Okay, so I finished The Count of Monte Cristo last night, finally. Yeah, this is actually good. Okay, I was debating giving it like 4.5 stars, but I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. If you have a lot of other books that you want to read, it's so hard to keep on picking this up, especially in the middle, because that is when a lot of the exposition of things that's going to happen in the future, it's explained in the middle, and the end is just so good. Like the last 20%, when the revenge plot has started to come to fruition. Great. I picked up 1984 to continue on with this classics kind of feels that I'm having. And also, this is part of my 2024 TBR, so I'm very excited to finally take this off the list. Well, obviously, this is much more modern than The Count of Monte Cristo, so it's far easier to read. I have the Alma Classics of this because it matches my Animal Farm copy, and hopefully, I don't think this really needs that much of a translation or edition. Like, I don't know what could be the difference between this and other publishers' edition, but yeah, there are a lot of words here, such as, well, obviously Big Brother, and there is also a hate week. Okay, there's a hate week, and there's also the thought police, and that is quite concerning to me, like the thought police. And there's also this, I believe, telescreen wherein they can be observed at any time, and there are people who are watching them, and they don't know when they are being watched. It's just that they are easily accessible or available to be spied on, and this is so creepy at the moment. I am only on page 4, so like I finished Count of Monte Cristo, and then I started this immediately last night just to get the ball rolling, and I'm excited to continue reading this later on after I finish my other responsibilities for today.
Goombas! Whatever those things are!
My daughter, she's watching Super Mario Brothers. Are you happy, baby?
Yeah, baby Daya Burgers are sucking and the boys.
I have no idea what she said. The tree. You love the tree. Oh no, anak. No running, anak. Oop. Ay, ako gab-gabi. Read 2 chapters of 1984 last night, and I would have to say that I am bracing myself because I know that this is going to be such a great book. There's something about dystopian novels that really captures me. I think it's because if it's a fantasy book, obviously it's so nice to escape to that world. But if it's a dystopian world, it's more in touch with reality, or it's easier to think that this could be an alternative reality. And how unhinged is George Orwell for him to be able to conjure up this kind of story, which I think during his time, when was this published? Okay, I'm so excited to continue on. I am starting chapter 3. God, I am so excited. This is gonna be a 5-star book. Plus, I already read one of his books and it blew me away. Why would this be any different? I can't believe this. Why did it take me so long to pick this up? Also, these are the tabs that I'm using. I finally know what hate week is, and there's also like 2 minutes of hate. There's this practice that they do during that time, and I love that this incorporates like having a diary. So that's where the story takes place. The main character, something happens during his day that he decides to write a diary, and in his diary, he sort of denounces the dictator in the book, and he knows that just having that simple thought is already his death. And now he decided to keep the diary because he realized that perhaps someone from his office, like, because he was able to like have a brief eye contact with someone, but he had this feeling that they were both having the same thoughts, that they think this big brother dude has got to go, or like he like down with him, down with big brother, basically. Okay, so we are at the circle. Yan yan. Okay. Oh. I got a chicken. I mean a duck. Don't touch them. Don't touch them. Balloon. Ooh, you wanna buy a balloon? Yan yan. Wow, say thank you.
Kasi may avocado, gusto mo?
Sige, sige. Cheese.
Cheese saka avocado, chocolate natin.
Cheese lang. Pwedeng cheese lang. Oh no.
Hindi nakakatakot na.
Thank you po. Okay, how did I make it to 30 years old without having read this book? This was published in 1949, and I think it's a crime that it is not a required reading in school. Let's be honest, this book is incredible. And I'm not even halfway through. I'm like a quarter% through. Quarter percent, is that okay to say? Anyway, whatever. Double think. The concept of double think. Oh my god. This is so good. This is very reminiscent also of, okay, basically, this is like North Korea. Their leadership is controlling the language so that, you know, in North Korea, the word love doesn't exist because love is a concept that is quite dangerous if you think about it. So Kim Jong, whatever, whichever Kim Jong said that. The first one, the very first one. Thank you, Darling. The very first Kim Jong, whoever, Il-un, I don't even know their names, but that one, he is controlling their language, and so the people don't know what freedom is. The people there don't know what rebellion means, or it doesn't exist. If a word for something doesn't exist, then it is out of the consciousness of its people. And essentially, this is what they're trying to do. But here in this book, they are actively trying to change the dictionary and also the history of things. And this got me thinking about how, we read history books and we know that the winners write history. It's so incredible, this one part. The job of the main character here is actually to rectify certain newspaper articles that, okay, let's say Big Brother says something and then they change their mind about it. So there are these group of people who rectify or edit what was in the article, and there's also this department that collects all of the old copies of that particular newspaper, or it could also be books. They collect it and then they get rid of it, and then they publish a new truth, to the point that they even take pictures. They can stage photographs to make it appear as though this person has existed. Or, if they're trying to erase someone, it's like, it's not even just, making them cease to exist. It's making people to seem like they did not exist at all. So they don't die. The enemies, they do not die. They do not perish. Instead, they get deleted as if they have never existed, like I said. So, I am very intrigued because, I love myself a rebellious character. And he's tiptoeing, being very careful about what he's doing. But at the same time, it's going to get messy. I know it's going to get messy. And I accidentally read the last sentence. 4 words? Yes, 4 words while I was looking at the first page of the appendix. And I read the last line and I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Like, it kind of makes me feel like, okay, I was spoiled, right? But it makes me feel like more anticipating what's going to happen in the rest of the book. So, whatever you're reading, stop reading it right now. If you have not read 1984, pick this up. I love this. I love this book. I love this book. I can already tell that this is going to be my favorite classic of this year. Wow. Wow. Okay, last night I read up to part 2. So I am around, I think, 40% through the book. And I am really treasuring it. Okay, so there is this other character that we have met before. And they are currently, some circumstances happen and they're together. And now I am like, what is this going to do? Because this particular person has ignited this kind of fire in him. And will this make situations worse? Or will it make it better? So that is the question. Making me a little bit wonder is how they don't seem to have real good food. Like, they don't have real sugar. I'm guessing that the food that they're having is really disgusting. Like, that's what it's giving, the impression that it's giving me. But at the same time, they are from the party. So there is a party. The party, these are the people who are, important. I would say they are like, would you say they are rich? But they're really not treated that well. Anyway, there's also the proles, the working class, the proletariats. So there's that difference in the ranking, but these people from the party who you would imagine would have better circumstances, they're eating fake, not really fake, but yeah, just not real food. And I'm really wondering, like, why is it like this? See, they are excited about a tin of milk and a pot of jam and a loaf of bread. And it says, proper white bread, not our bloody stuff. Like, what is going on? I really want to know. It's talking about coffee. Oh, there is such a thing as inner party. So this person stole this piece of food from the inner party. So it seems like in the party, there's an inner party. And I'm guessing those inner party people are probably corrupt. Okay, there's like a little bit of a social science lesson in the middle of this, but it also, you know, it sounds very reminiscent of a textbook type of writing. Part 3, okay, something terrible has happened and I did not even suspect. Oh, by the way, while I am still not reading part 3, since part 1, I was already thinking that Goldstein, this one person, and I'm just speculating, but I'm thinking he's Big Brother. Okay, there are 3 slogans of the party, and it is war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. So those are slogans that this party is and like, okay, aside from doublethink, the main meaning of doublethink is coming up with a lie and then believing the lie as if it's the truth, and you have to consciously do that, of course, because you're tricking yourself that that's the truth. But then you also have to consciously, I mean, it should become an unconscious information in the future. Like, you would forget that you tricked yourself. Okay, the point of war is peace is that they do not need to go to war. These 3 major places that's always having war, they don't need to be at war with each other, but they are using war to expend extra supplies, so that, because if there's like an oversupply of something, there would be a disturbance in the hierarchy. They use people, of course, to fight the war, to supply the war, and then they use that same war to remove or like cancel out basically the labor of the people, and then all the supplies, right? It gets canceled out because you're at war. So basically, war is modern warfare is now useless, because back then, okay, the countries had to, okay, because they had different, let's say, supplies, products, whatever. But then nowadays, everyone can sustain themselves within their own countries, and the reason for warfare is something more self-serving. So there's that larger model, and the tiny model, the inside model that I'm thinking of that could be happening here is, like I said, like I had a feeling before, like suddenly I had this thought during part 1 that Goldstein might be Big Brother. Now I'm thinking that Goldstein, okay, by the way, Big Brother is not just a single person. What I mean by Goldstein is like maybe he's the leader, okay? Big Brother is actually all of the people in the inner party, like the higher ups, and they chose to make it to call themselves as Big Brother because it's easier to instill fear, love towards a single person as opposed to an organization. And I think that's really interesting because I have not thought of it that way, which is so true, right? What? You're winning?
Yeah.
You're winning? You know how to play?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, by the way, I am having this sort of muscle ache on my shoulder, which hurts a lot. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Okay, so what do I do? What am I gonna do? Yeah, okay, I'm actually currently ordering some groceries. That's how I have been doing it recently. I order usually because, yeah, there's hardly a time where, I mean, it's very rare that someone is able to watch the kids while I go grocery shopping. So I just order it online. And also this freaking construction over there is driving me crazy. Taking some Tylenol because it's really aching so bad. It's amazing that the butterfly balloon still has helium in it. Okay, anyway, where was I? I have not yet picked up 1984, but I will later after church. Show me. What do you have? Wow, beautiful naman. Look at that. Dude, this one person in prison, he is in there because of thought crime. And it wasn't like he is the last person you would expect to be doing thought crime, because he's so, to be blunt, he's not smart, okay? And he was actually caught committing thought crime during his sleep. So he was sleeping and he was sleep talking, and what he was saying was, down with Big Brother. So he was saying that in his sleep. And who turned him in? At first I thought it was like the telescreen. The telescreen heard him uttering, "Down with Big Brother." But no. It was his daughter who heard him through the keyhole. And the next day, she told on her dad. And I think this particularly happened because in this society, families just exist for the party, for Big Brother. There is no sense of love. And this is why it was so easy for the daughter to just give up her father like that. And funnily enough, the dad was proud of her. Yeah. So I am almost, well, not really done, but I am 84% through 1984. Okay, anyway, I am so annoyed at why? Okay, it's so hard to grasp the concept of part 3, mainly because there is just some silliness, some fact bending, even like the laws of nature is not applying to part 3. What it's trying to say is that everything that exists or is perceived only exists in the consciousness. It's just such a mind-bending exercise to go through what our main character is going through right now. And I am almost done. I really am. I think I only have a couple of pages left, but I was really getting sleepy last night, so I didn't finish. But what's going on? What's going on? Only love. Remember?
Bye.
Yes? Gabito, only love. Ate, you're so beautiful, ate. Just... Later. He's still sleeping or not? Try it. Come on, here's your phone. It's yummy. Try it. The violet is ice cream. See? Told you. Ooh!
What is that?
Wala tayo asad? This wow, bubbles! Bubbles!
I got a bit more pizza. Don't eat the pizza too. It's very sugar. But sorry about wait. Uncle Louis, you gonna share. Hey, this case ball. And she's just come to Hopefully it's enough for purchase and water. Okay, bye.
Okay, so last night I finished 1984 and the ending was so sad. But I knew it was gonna go there because I think this book had to instill some sort of anger or frustration in the reader for it to be really effective and for it to, really make you think about things. The way that they have broken him into this kind of person, like when he sacrificed this person that he loves that was when the party won. The thing that I was talking about regarding Goldstein is Big Brother. Well, obviously he's not. I mean, it's not explicitly said, but I think Goldstein is the picture that, you know, the way that they put Big Brother as the face of the party so that it's easier to love him. You know, I mean, that's the only love that's allowed. Love for Big Brother. The same thing that they did with Goldstein, so that they have a particular person that they can, when something goes wrong, they can blame him. They can power the anger of the people using his picture. And that's why they have hate week and all that. So it is possible that this Goldstein person is also a fabrication of the party, so that they have both, like, we love this guy, God, we hate this guy, the devil. Like, sort of that dichotomy, so that it's easier to control the narrative. Also, man, what the heck is with that O'Brien guy? Okay, I really, like, he really said some good stuff about the brotherhood exists, but it doesn't have an organization. Like, it's not, there's no complete list of members of this brotherhood, and it's also just by words of mouth. But at the same time, if I don't know who the other members of the brotherhood is, then I cannot, for the life of me, betray the brotherhood, because it's you know, it's just floating there. It's just a bunch of people thinking the same thing, that down with Big Brother. But then it's so sad that that concept was undermined because the brotherhood did not exist. Also, I really love the commentary on how language is so powerful that it can basically drive a culture to where it needs to go. And I think that is why North Korea is the way it is. And I just feel bad for everyone who's in there. Okay, another thing, the fact that these people can read their thoughts, like, it will make you realize, okay, fine, spy on me using the telescreen, but if you can read my mind, if you can read what's going on in my head, and if something that goes on in my head is a crime, if it's a thought crime, then I'm gonna get in trouble. Like, how? Like, what if you're just thinking it? You know, thinking something is opposite as to doing things, you know. And if they can get you for thinking something, then only really the mindless can survive this kind of community. So anyway, love this book. 5 stars, obviously. That is the end of this reading vlog. Look at these 2 classics that I got done. Yay!